We've all felt it. Someone kind in your life dies too early, and somewhere on the news, a cartoonishly evil person just turned 100. Your brain connects those dots and decides the universe is broken. It feels like a rigged game where being awful comes with bonus hit points. That feeling is real, and it's understandable, but it's also a trick of perspective. The first trick is scale. You're comparing one deeply personal loss to a handful of globally famous villains. Your Aunt Linda matters to you more than any statistic ever could, while that billionaire warlord matters only because millions of people are forced to look at him at the same time. Your brain treats those as equal samples. They're not. The second trick has a name: survival bias. You only notice the bad people who survived long enough to become famous. The ones who didn't make it never enter your mental data set. No one writes documentaries about anonymous jerks who died at 32 in a car crash, an overdose, or a bar fight. So your brain quietly deletes them and keeps the outliers. That's where the evil people live forever myth is born. It's not that villains last longer, it's that only the rare survivors stay visible. Now let's talk about the biology joke in the script, the so-called cool engine. The idea is that most people carry around a conscience that generates guilt, rumination, and stress. Stress has real physiological costs. Chronically activating threat systems raises blood pressure, disrupts sleep, and slowly wears down the body. That part is real biology, but the joke oversells it on purpose. Being decent doesn't automatically mean living in a constant stress spiral. What actually predicts long-term damage isn't kindness, it's instability, low control, chronic chaos, poor sleep, financial precarity, unsafe environments. A conscientious, pro-social person with a stable life often has less chronic stress, not more. Some people with antisocial traits do show lower fear or guilt responses in narrow lab settings. That's the kernel of truth behind the uninstalled conscience app joke. But that doesn't mean their lives are biologically chill. Reduced guilt often comes bundled with higher risk-taking, more conflict, worse health habits, and lower medical follow-through. Any stress they dodge internally tends to come roaring back externally. Which brings us to the part you never see, the missing data. For every famous monster who made it to old age, there are countless Gary from logistics types who burned out early. Antisocial behavior, on average, is associated with higher rates of injury, violence, substance abuse, incarceration, and early death. Those outcomes don't trend on social media, so they vanish from the story we tell ourselves. This is the lottery problem. You're staring at the one winning ticket taped to the world and forgetting the millions of losing tickets swept into the trash. Visibility feels like frequency, but it isn't. Then there's the predator surcharge. Even if you avoid guilt, you don't escape stress, you just change its flavor. Lives built on exploitation tend to require constant vigilance. If you treat people like chess pieces, you eventually assume everyone else is playing chess too. That hyper-alert state has its own biological costs: disrupted sleep, elevated arousal, inflammatory load, and cardiovascular strain. You don't get eaten by conscience, you get cooked by paranoia. So, no, nature isn't morally fair, but it is probabilistic. There's no free lunch. Stress comes from somewhere. When you zoom out and actually look at population data, the trait most consistently linked to longevity isn't ruthlessness, it's conscientiousness, planning, self-control, showing up to appointments, taking meds correctly, avoiding obviously stupid risks, maintaining routines. These traits quietly stack the odds in your favor over decades. Kindness helps indirectly. It stabilizes relationships, builds social support, and reduces loneliness, all of which buffer stress. But it's not magical karma, it's systems, habits, and boring consistency. There's one more hidden variable people forget: insulation. Wealth and power reduce exposure to danger. They buy safer environments, better healthcare, and more control. When a villain lives a long time, you're often looking at resources, not morality. Evil didn't extend their life, protection did. So here's the clean takeaway. bad people don't live longer. You just notice the bad ones who survived. The traits that actually predict a long life are dull, stable, and mostly invisible. They don't make headlines. They make it to 70, 80, 90, one ordinary day at a time. The Ferrari gets the attention. The Accord gets the mileage.